Okay, so I'm in Thessalonica. I'm in Thessaloniki, and I need a good night's sleep. I'm really tired. I need something to eat, and so I look around. Oh, right. Here's a thing about Thessalonica. It's the Aegean, which is the Mediterranean kind of. It's connected to it. And I remember as I was driving along the seafront, the sea is kind of at the level. If you just sat down on a chair, right by where the wall is, the sea wall, you're looking across the top of the sea right there. That's how it seemed to me to be. It's right there. It's amazing, and it's got the ripples on it. It looks like a real ocean going on, and it's quite dark blue and just really beautiful. So what did I do? I went. What did I do? That was right. Okay, I went and checked in because I need to get rid of the car because it's a bit difficult to park, and you're a bit unsure of parking in foreign countries, and it's all a bit more stressful because you're sat on the wrong side of the vehicle and all that. So I went and checked in, and they looked me up and down because I was like looking a bit terrible. And I said, I'm going to go and get some clothes, and they was, okay, fine. And I sort of flashed the cash, splashed the cash, if you know what I mean. And it was a really good hotel as well. It was 5-star, I suppose, and I just treated myself to that. It wasn't that expensive, it was nothing ridiculous. It was just a single room in this hotel. And so I immediately went off to get some nice clothes. But it was a Sunday, and the reason I know it's a Sunday was because nothing was open. I'm not sure why, but it seemed like I couldn't find a clothes store anywhere. It was just people were walking around, and I noticed immediately the younger girls were wearing Greek type clothing like you'd imagine from 3,000 years ago. Those sandals with the leather straps that are tied around, like in the crossing, like you'd imagine the Greek gods would wear, and those sort of flowing kind of silky type of toga things, the one over the shoulder. Can you believe it? This was in 2006, and that was a real influence in the clothing. And quite a lot of blonde Greeks. And I'm a people watcher, and I love to look at people, and not in a funny way, I just enjoy it. I just love culture. I find it so exciting. I'm so curious about it. Anyway, so the only shop open is Lacoste. Now Lacoste is really expensive, and I thought, oh sod it, I've got loads of money. I haven't bought any new clothes for years, so I just went in and I got myself a little outfit, Lacoste outfit. The shirt with the little alligator. Is it an alligator? Lacoste? I think it is. Whatever it is, I think it's an alligator. It's all very silly. I'm not into all of that kind of stuff because it's all nonsense, really. I've got a bit of an issue with that Jesse Lee Peterson. He wears Lacoste shirts, ironically. Yeah, it's the little alligator. 90 bucks for a stupid t-shirt. Ridiculous. But anyway, I didn't pay anything like that. So I got my little t-shirt, my little shorts, my little leather sneakers. I've still got them to this day. I've only worn them like 3 times. I'll probably make profit on them if I sold them now. So I got my little outfit, and the women who served me, there's 2 Greek ladies, they're younger women who are obviously at university or something, and I talked to them a little bit. They spoke really good English, and they were so beautiful. I mean, absolutely. And this is not me being a perv or anything. I just thought they were just absolutely the most beautiful women. Totally amazing, and it was just a real treat. Anyway, go back to the hotel, have something to eat in the hotel. Wandered around town, stopped in different places, and just really enjoyed it. And I think one of the best things is they had the foresight to have a square, multiple squares, like an open area right in front of it's not a beachfront because the ocean is right there. There's no beach. It comes right up to the wall where I was anyway, probably around the whole bay or the whole seafront. And they didn't put all the hotels right up to the front. They just put these squares, so you've got some space, and then steps going up, and it was done really beautifully. I was really impressed with how beautiful Thessaloniki is. I'll never forget how. In fact, to me, it's a place I want to return to. It was so not even cultured, because I don't, I'm not a snob. I don't think, oh, it's so cultured. I'm going to go to the opera and have some culture. It just had a great feeling to it. And I just really enjoy being there. All right, so meanwhile, every time I can, I'm popping into internet cafes and reporting back to the expat forum back in in Britain and telling them what I'm up to and all that. So I go back to the hotel and sleep, get up in the morning, drive out the underground parking lot, come around the spiral driveway thing, and I'm back on the road and I'm driving up to the Bulgarian border. So I get to the Bulgarian border. Now then, I remember going to an internet cafe and saying, I'm just on the border of Bulgaria, I'm just about to go in. You know, hi everyone. Yeah?
It's finished.
Okay. What are you doing, Tiff?
Looking for the cat.
Oh, she's not in here, hon. Yeah, so I just let them all know I'm going in, and there happened to be some people who were there right there and then, and they said, "What do you mean you've got? Where did you get your hire car from? Your rental car? Where did you get your rental car from?" And I said, "Oh no, I've got my own car." And they said, "You're kidding me? You're taking your own car? You've got to be joking! You can't take your own car into Bulgaria. They'll be stolen within 10 minutes. You must be insane." And I was like, "Oh wow!" And then they said, "You know, the next thing is you've got to go through the cattle disinfecting stations or something." So they've got these huge troughs that the cars and trucks drive through that got disinfectant in them, and it's to stop any spread of disease across borders. You've got to go through that, and then you've got to go through all the Bulgaria. You know, you leave Greece and then you enter Bulgaria, so you've got to go through. Leaving Greece is easy. Entering Bulgaria, if they think you're soft and weak, they're going to try and shake you down and whatever. And so I was expecting all this problem and grief and everything. I thought, you know what, sorry, I'm going to go for it. If I lose my car, I lose my car. I'm not going to be enfearinated. No, I'm not going to be intimidated. You know, I'm not going to say I can handle myself or anything like that, but I mean, the thing with me is I do feel fear. More than anybody else probably in many ways, but I kind of think, oh well, really, I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm a bit like that. I'm not like some super tough guy. I'm just like, I'll do it anyway. Let's just deal with it. If anything happens, I'll just deal with it in the moment. So drove across, no cattle trough things, none of that, no disinfectant troughs. That was all. They're all dry, nothing there, nothing happening, all finished. They don't even do it. Pretty much wade through in like 2 minutes. Next thing, I'm in Bulgaria. And I've been warned about speed traps. What they do is they're an immediate shakedown. They have it at 20 miles an hour, and you literally have to do 20 miles an hour. They're not going to pull over a Bulgarian truck driver because he ain't got any money. So he's up your ass trying to push you along because he's kind of in on it maybe, I don't know, but it was just really, really terrifying. And it's about 3 miles at doing 20 miles an hour with a massive truck up your ass. You've just got to hold it together, and then you can see all the cops sat there with the speed traps. Right. So anyway, managed to get through that, and then the first place I come to was literally, wow, just this horrible communist, brutalist, concrete tower block things that, well, they weren't, they're only like 3 stories high. Just to the right hand side, like a dirt track going up, they're on a hill, and it looks like the most bleakest, they're just awful. They're so depressing, these places. I can't even tell you. Graffiti, misery, awful, awful, horrible, horrible place. Anyway, and then so I drove through that, carried on, and then you can see they've just built a brand new freeway. So it's completely like perfection, absolutely a perfect highway. And then, you know, when you need fuel, the first place that was a gas station you pull off, absolutely brand new, was built that week. In fact, they can't even really process you properly in the store because they don't know what they're doing. They kind of stood around looking at each other. Nobody knows what to do. That's what it was like. So anyway, that was fairly uneventful. Powered on through Bulgaria, and what had been happening was I'd had a cell phone, and I didn't know that they've got roaming charges, so I just basically, and I think I had a phone where you have to put the money on the phone, and I got it set up with like €200 or something. It's all gone, just from me driving, not even using it, it's gone, my money's gone. So I haven't got a phone that works anymore. So I pull over and I want to get a phone, and I want a phone just because of calling emergency or whatever. And of course, you know, you go and buy a burner phone, like a little Nokia thing, those ones that everybody knows, the little grey ones, and it's €20 or something, and it's in Cyrillic. It's in the Russian writing, where the B is backwards and there's other letters and nothing is the same. And of course Cyrillic was invented by, I think he was called Cyril, he was a monk, wasn't he, who developed all the Eastern Europe type of culture and language and everything. Wasn't he the one who walked across Europe or something like that? And so it's in Cyrillic, so I don't know I can't send a text, and I can't really read a text. So it's all a bit, so you can imagine, can't you, when you like topping up your phone, it's all very confusing. But anyway, at least I got this phone, and I did use it. So yeah, and the unfortunate thing is that I didn't read. So the people back on the forums had said, you know, the greeting you need to use in Bulgaria is "Stravai, stravai." You must go in and say forcibly "Stravai." They respect that. So I go into this place to buy the burner phone. It's like a newsagent in the middle of nowhere, some little grocery place. And I walk in and I say "Stravai," and they're like looking at me, like rolling their eyes and pulling faces and kind of doing this sort of thing. I found out the next day I'd been set up in the forums. Stravai is like saying "raus" in German, like you're rounding up. It's like to heal, or, you know, hurry up. It's the worst thing you could say. And I was saying it for like 3 days in total. I found out a little bit, and then I fully realised what was happening later on. I didn't really fully realise until I got back to Britain. But anyway, that's another story. So then I basically am heading for Sofia, which is the capital. I want to get into Sofia because I want my car to be parked in a secure parking lot underneath a pretty good hotel. Now, I have made videos about Bulgaria before, and about going into Sofia, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. All I'll say about it is that as soon as you drive in, I've missed driving through Varna. Was it Varna? Varna is this massive, massive, massive seaside resort. Let me just look at the map of Bulgaria again. I might be screwing this story up slightly, because I remember coming on the freeway and it's like a bridge, and then you come into, was it Varna? Let's look at maps. Anyway, I know the sea was on one side, the land was on the other side. You come across this sort of suspension bridge to it, and it's this amazing place. Sofia Plovdiv. You know what? That was later. No, that's right. Okay, okay. So I drove across, there we go. So I drove across from Thessaloniki into Bulgaria, drove on that freeway up to Sofia. That's where we're at. Forget the seaside, that ain't happening yet. That's later. So I remember driving down, and the potholes were, I would say, 2 feet deep, 3 feet wide, and there was like one every 20 feet. And of course, all the locals know you drive round them. So you just have to follow all the other cars, because if you hit one of them, you go down, you ain't coming out, and you've finished. So they're pretty bad. Never been attempted to fix them. The first impression you get of Sofia is it's the mix of the communist stuff, you know, statues of Lenin and all that type of stuff, horrible concrete type buildings, all done on the, you know, on the down, like low rent. It's just depressing. It's like that Eastern European Cold War type of stuff you see in movies. There's that, and then of course you'll see the odd mall, brand new mall, American style mall built by the mafia. Loads of investments gone into it, loads of money laundering going on. Security guards at the front, armed. You know, they're bulgers right underneath their jackets, and they're controlling who goes in and out. Loads of donkeys and carts, even in Sofia. Most people have got crappy cars, but there's also lots of high-end cars, Porsche 911s, the Mercedes G-Wagons, loads of Mercedes, BMWs, that type of stuff. Even I saw a Phaeton, VW Phaeton. And another thing you'll see is those type of cars wrecked in the middle of a farmer's field, and just, you could see it happened a long time ago, because where the car's been destroyed, the paint comes off when body panels crumble or get crushed, and so it exposes the metal, and the metal's rusted. So it's been there a long time. Not picked dry of the wheels or anything. not been recovered for its parts because there's no one who can do anything with it. It's the mafia who crash them because they don't know what they're doing in these powerful vehicles, or whoever these high rollers are. They just leave them abandoned in the field. I'm not even sure they could even insure them. I don't really know, but I saw loads of them, and just these vehicles all over the place. So yeah, so I drive in, and of course this is this is the best part of the story, really, in my opinion. Is I go to that, what was the hotel, right in the centre of Sofia, a tower block, and I parked in the front, went in to check in. So I've got one case with me, you know, everything was really in one case. I kept everything close to me. I've just got the car outside with the 2 wheels in it, some tools in the back. I've got the money on the end of the bit of string in the gas tank, and I've got my bag with me, and I've got like a little fanny pack with my passport, some other money, credit cards, you know, all that important stuff, keys and shit. And I go and check in, so I give my card, and then it's like got a counter, and then she's doing the card underneath the counter. And then she gives me the card back and says, no good. I said, what, are you kidding me? She goes, you need another card. I've got another card. So I give her card number 2, and then it's like, she's faffing around with it for a bit. And then she goes back, no good, no good. I says, you've got to be kidding me. She says, right, have you got another card? So you can guess what's going to happen here, right? So I've got one last card. So I give her that, and she says, no good. I says, come on, no, there's something, what is going on? She says, oh, okay, this one is okay. This one's okay. So I was like, all right, fine. You can see if you can guess what's just happened. Anyway, so then I go up to the room, and they put me three stories down from the top floor, up the lift. It's like you'd imagine a place to be in Berlin, East Berlin in 1981. Old-fashioned decor, that type of fashion. Oranges, golds, browns, all faded, you know, old-fashioned fabrics and weird shapes in metals, and you know the situation, like atomic type of stuff. So I go in the room, put my bags down, put everything down, and where did I go? I went down to find out where the laundry was, because I'd seen it as I came in. There was like a kind of a dry cleaners and an actual separate laundry and something else, like a little grocer's or supermarket. No, a clothes shop, that was it. Just get some laundry done. So went down, just had a quick look around, just asked what the hours were, went back up, go in my room, my bags are gone. And my fanny pack with me passport and all the rest of it. So I'm like, shit. And the way it worked is, you've got the lift shaft up the middle of the building, and the rooms all around the outside, a bit like Twin Towers kind of thing. And so when you come out the room, you've got a bit of a corridor going round, and then the lift. So I'm like, something just told me to just sort of run around really and just try doors. And I kept doing that, kept trying doors. And eventually I came to it was like looked like a cupboard, like a lift shaft servicing door, cupboard or door or something. And I opened the door like that, and there was a woman, like a cleaning lady, looked at me like that, and there's my bags, and she's got her hands on them. She's kind of got the zipper, just about to undo the zip. And I was like, whoa, what's happening? You know, and the thing with me is I never make a big fuss, right? And she knew she had been busted, right? Immediately stolen it, was going to have it collected by somebody else. There's no evidence. And I was like, just give it back. And she just gave it back, and I just took it back to the room, and that was it. I had to keep it with me the whole time after that. So that was that. And then, of course, what else happened in that hotel? Fairly uneventful after that. I went out for lunch. I've got to take my bags with me. They weren't too big. And I found a wonderful place, and it was like school dinners basically. So you go into this restaurant, and they've got all the food made in canteens with a lid on and whatever. They serve it to you, just sort of point at stuff. Fantastic food, absolutely delicious and really cheap. And the place was full of Bulgarians basically. And just a little bit of a word about the Bulgarians is that they are basically the Thracians. The Dacians are the Romanians, I think, but the Thracians were their own little race. They had lots of wars and stuff, and I think they finally got kind of annihilated. The women are famous for having a little pot belly. I've seen some famous Americans who are related to Bulgarians, and they've got this little pot-belly thing going on. It's quite weird. It doesn't mean they're fat or anything. It's just a genetic disposition. Lots of black hair going on. My evil Uncle Tony, who's from up north, he's quite a cynical sort of character, and anyway. I don't want to say anything too bad about him, but he told me, did he tell me before or after? I think it was probably before. He got word I was going to Bulgaria, and he said he'd been there. He went there. I think he took his wife with him as well, his long-suffering wife. These were sort of high earnings, erudite people. She was a headmistress. He worked for, big corporations in Britain and everything. And I think he retired early because they kind of got fed up with him, because he's kind of a little bit of a challenging person. But he would say, right, Dan, here's the advice about the hookers. The ones in town are twice as much as the ones just outside of town. So if you just take yourself to the edge of town, and there'll just literally be a cafe there with a table and some chairs, and that's the demarcation line for the edge of town, and you'll see them sat there, and they're the cheaper ones, and they're the most beautiful ones, and all the rest of it, right? And I was like, really? And I'm just sort of nodding at him, he knew that I am completely against all of that type of stuff, right? And he often tried to annoy me, really, with all that sort of stuff. That's the last thing on my mind. I would never do anything like that, and never even tempted for a second. It's just not the way I am. I wasn't born that way. And so, but again, I like to look at people, I like to observe. And you know what? I don't really remember seeing any girls like that. There was maybe one who kind of caught my eye, she caught my eye. She was making eyes at me, and I just put my head down, whatever. But yeah, I was observing people and just enjoying it, really, just enjoying seeing a different culture. It's a bit of a depressing place, Sofia. I've got to be honest. I think the people are kind of beaten down. But what's really interesting is, and I found out really quickly, that half of them miss communism. Can you believe it? They actually miss it. They want it back. And I'll give you an example of that, is the post office. I needed to go to the post office for something. It was to get some kind of document to be in Bulgaria. You've got to get something done. I can't remember what it was, some sort of insurance or something. And the first day I went into the post office, I was dealt with by a man, and he was fine, but I had to come back. And I came back the next day, and it was a woman, and I got to the front of the line, and she was so mean. She was absolutely, and she refused to serve me, basically. And so I had to wait until she went to lunch and somebody took over, and then I got the original man, and he finished off the process. And that was a reminder of that communist type of stuff, right? That sort of, you could see it in all of the decor and the whole systems that were going on, and everything in triplicate and quadruplicate and all that. And another thing that happened to me was, and when I mentioned this in the forums, they were all like, well, that's your own fault and you're a fool for doing this. But what happened was, I got a little bit lost in Sofia in the car, and I stopped on a bus stop. And it wasn't just one bus stop, it was like 3 all together. And there's all these sort of shoppers stood there, except they're not your normal shoppers. They all look like welders or dockers or truck drivers. I mean, they've all got like forearms like that wide. Even, I think some of them had tattoos as well, I can't remember. But huge, great big guys with their little shopping bags, So they're retired, they're grey, they're from the communist era. And I just pulled up just to quickly look at a map, and the next thing, I've got these guys with these great big hands slapping the car. The hood, the roof, the thing, the windows, like zombies, right? Loads of them, all starting to surround the vehicle. I'm like surrounded on 3 sides, and they're kind of in front of me as well. And I'm like, whoa, shit, sorry, oh my God. And I just quickly like, boom, boom, and pulled away and drove off. And they were like still kind of coming after me. And how dare you stop on our bus stop? And that's totally true, and that was ridiculous. So while I was in Sofia, I knew about the Roman ruins and all that type of stuff. And so what I did was I basically, I'm coming to the end here. So I just basically booked a little tour, and it was a one-on-one thing with I didn't know who I was going to get, because you just pay the money at the ticket and then you get taken round. And it was a fairly young woman, about 23, very beautiful, immaculately presented, perfect English. Showed me the Roman ruins, and a lot of it's like under glass and stuff, and you walk on the actual walls and the roads, and you look at the pottery, and she just took me around for like 3 hours, and I really enjoyed that. That was absolutely fantastic, amazing. Then I decided to I went to another hotel in Sofia. The name was really crazy. It'll come to me. The hotel, not the Rodania. It's an amazing name. It's a crazy name. It all had gold lettering on the front. I went to a different hotel actually and stayed in there. But anyway, look, I'll go to part whatever that 3 or 4 or whatever it is. But yeah, this is going to end. So that's it for today. I've had enough. I'm going to go watch TV and have an early night. So thanks for watching so far. I'm going to have a bath, go to bed, and we'll finish off with the craziness of Bulgaria yet to come. Thank you very much. Bye.